Hello.
Hello?
How was it?
Bad.
Why? What happened?
They chose Morton to replace Rouse.
He knows nothing about Tel Aviv. Why did they choose him over you?
I don't know.
You know everyone.
Yeah, well, maybe that's the problem. They want someone who knows no one, who knows nothing.
Are you planning on getting very drunk?
Yes.
And that's a clip from Shoshana. I'm delighted to say that its director and co-writer, Michael Winterbottom, is with us in the studio. Hello, Michael. How are you?
Good, thanks.
It's very nice to see you. This film has been a long time coming. Introduce us to Shoshana, who she is and what your film is.
It's a true story. Yeah, we've been thinking about making it for a long time, maybe about 15 years. I was in Jerusalem, the Jerusalem Film Festival, and I read a book there called One Palestine Complete, which is about the time when Britain was the occupying power in Palestine. And this story didn't really come from that, but we started doing research. And the story of Shoshana Baruchov, she was the daughter of a very famous socialist Zionist called Ber Baruchov. And it's the story of her and Tom Wilkin, who is a police officer in the British Palestine Police Force. And basically, Tom Wilkin is chasing, amongst other people, a guy called Avraham Stern. Avraham Stern was on the right of politics and was one of a small minority who believed that violence was necessary to build Israel. So really, it's about the way in which that violence, the gradually escalating violence, impacts the relationship between Tom Wilkin and Shoshana.
Because it is, at its heart, it's a love story.
Yeah, exactly. So we were looking around. We did quite a lot of research for a few years and looking around for stories. But this is a very simple story. Yeah, it's a love story. It's a classic story, really. Two people from different communities.
So a Romeo and Juliet kind of.
Yes, in a way, and it's and it's about the way in which gradually over so the story starts in 1938. So it's about the way from that point on their relationship is impacted by the violence that Tom is also kind of policing.
So how much of it is actually what happened? I mean, you start with some newsreel footage, which is very useful because you set it up, and I suspect most people who go and see it will go, oh, really? I didn't know that. So you fill us in as to what the general political situation is, the geopolitical situation is. Then you introduce us to Shoshana and Tom. How much of their story is true and how much have you fictionalized?
We've stuck to the story, the facts of the story. So, yeah, I mean, the beginning is just to give a bit of context. I should say it's only a couple of minutes. The archive, I love the archive. One of the first things we did was go and visit all the archives. And there's amazing footage from that time and place. So we have like 2-3 minutes to archive. And then we get into our story and everything to do, all the facts that we could find, we stuck to those facts. But obviously, if you're doing a love story, you're also trying to imagine the texture of the relationship, imagine exactly what each finds interesting or attractive about the other. And for me, the story is one where Tom Wilkin is in love with Shoshana. Obviously, there's a personal attraction, but also I think he's kind of in love with the culture of Tel Aviv. It's a kind of brand new city. It's very political. Most people there are first-generation immigrants who've come from various parts of Northern Europe to sort of build this this country they want to build. And I think he's attracted to her strength and her intelligence, her independence. So the story is one always where the question, if there's a question in that relationship, is will he go along with her? She is the dominant force in their relationship.
Tel Aviv does come over as, I know you weren't filming in Tel Aviv, but it does come over as a very exciting, pulsating, and there's lots of live music and there's close-ups of jazz musicians and they're on the beach and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I think we originally thought we might film in the real Tel Aviv, but the real Tel Aviv now is a massive high-rise city, and we realized quite quickly that wasn't possible. I mean, in the end, we filmed in Puglia in south of Italy, which was a great match. And one of the reasons we have the archive is so you can see the archive and see what Tel Aviv really looked like in the 1930s, and then you can see what we've sort of done to recreate it. But yeah, for me, I did want that sense of a city that was a young city. Most people were very young. A city that was obviously full of energy, very, very dynamic. But as I say, that a city where it was a very egalitarian city, probably a very left-wing city, by comparison to almost anywhere else in the world, really. and so I wanted to try and capture that. I have to say it's quite difficult to capture that in a period film. So you're sort of trying, because obviously if you go out today in London, you can shoot everywhere and you can get that energy. But obviously when you're trying to recreate that energy in a period film, it's hard. But I hope we achieved it to some extent.
Yeah, I did wonder whether the Israeli, because I wonder if people might go expecting more than you want to tell them. This is a specific story set in a particular time in the Middle East, and it's a love story between a British policeman and a Jewish woman. That's what it is, and obviously it spills out from there. But one of the things that occurred to me was, as we follow Shoshana, is that she kind of represents a left-wing socialist Israel which has sort of disappeared. It's sort of gone. As Israel has moved to the right, her kind of vision of Israel seems to have diminished.
Yeah, I think that's right. We read a lot of first-hand accounts, people's experiences there on kibbutzes and people's in the various different kind of political groups. And yeah, definitely it was a very kind of egalitarian place, very sort of very left-leaning place. And Shoshana represents that strand of it. Shoshana and all her comrades represent the mainstream opinion, which was in favor of a kind of political dialogue with the British to try and achieve what the country they wanted to build. There was only a very small group that were on the right, who were the followers of Avraham Stern. And as you say, obviously, you look at Israel now, the group that was a small group has become the dominant group. In fact, the person who authorized the assassination of Tom Wilkim, this is to give a bit of the story away, probably shouldn't do, but the person who authorized the assassination of Tom Wilkim was Yitzhak Shamir, who became prime minister sort of 30 or 40 years later.